Good morning, everyone. My name is James Hongs. I am the founder of telehealthtoday.net. And as you know, we have a different speaker on every Monday morning. Today is Monday, September 16th. It is 10 a.m. And just want to remind everyone, November 1st, once again, we are launching. You can find anyone who's ever been a speaker on here, as well as a lot more people on telehealthtoday.net. You can look and see who's on there now, but the website will be redone and available for appointments come November 1st. Beginning on with today, I have a special host. It is my pleasure to introduce you all to Miss Marianne St. Clair, a muse and a life coach, also works in depth with relationships and sexual health. And I think this is relevant to a lot of people, and it's great. Marianne, it is an absolute pleasure to have you here. Thank you for being here. The stage is yours.
Jim, it has been long overdue, and I am so grateful that you asked me to come to this platform and be able to share what I feel is really an underserved topic, and a topic that has been kind of under the covers, so to speak: sexual health and sexual well-being and sexual orientation, and how that stops us and blocks us in all areas of our life. So I want to kind of have some fun here today, kind of maybe bring up some things that you maybe never heard of, and really serve in a way that maybe most of you have been taught to suppress and not talk about sex, or not talk about how you feel, or what you really is your most natural state underneath. And so those are kind of the areas I, as a muse and a life coach, really like to dive with my clients and kind of give them a way to become more self-expressed, because with that, they can become healthier, happier, more vibrant human beings, and, being able to live their lives happy and healthy. And that's, how we all, I think, really want to. We just don't know how, and we don't know where our blocks. And I think that's where someone like myself and others in the coaching and psychology field, we really are here to address, you being a happy, healthy, whole human being. And so I want to introduce myself just a little bit to give you who I am. My name is Marianne St. Clair, and I've been a life coach for 27 years, and I've been a muse my entire life. And you say, what's a muse? A muse is that other creative side. It's the side that really deals with not the logical linear part, but that part of you. What I do is shine that feminine aspect of myself over in your direction, like a magnifying glass, and help you look at areas that you might be suppressing. So I do that through creativity. I do that through self-expression. I do that helping you to come more alive, so you can be a better, healthier, happier human being. And, quit like putting those things away that you're afraid to speak about, or you're afraid to, you were taught maybe that those things you should never bring up and bring out into the public. So what I like to do is help you have a safe place to discover who you are fully as a happy, healthy human being. So anything there that you'd like to say, Jim?
Well, how?
How? Yeah. So, I use a lot of creativity. I use a lot of the signs and symbols, and we look underneath the surface, because a lot of times we can get suppressed in our words, in our blocks and we don't know how to bring those things forward. So I use some really creative, like painting, and you say, but I'm not an artist. And that's not the point of this. It's the nonverbal, we deal in pictures and colors and those things, parts of us that are the nonlinear parts is the parts that I like to bring up and help you express. And by doing that, it helps you get to parts of you that you didn't know you were suppressing. We all, I think, underneath, we all want to fundamentally be happy, healthy human beings and be productive members of society. But along the way, unfortunately, we've been taught things that aren't necessarily true. And we've learned how to suppress parts of ourselves that maybe with a little bit of creativity, you can bring to the surface and have someone like myself or someone else be able to look at who are you as a healthy, whole human being. And I use a lot of the right brain and a lot of the body to bring out those aspects, because the body actually stores all the information. It's in there. We have this computer up here that's the sort of the linear part, and we can like pull up parts, but sometimes we suppress parts. And through creativity, we can bring things forward to help express it. It may not make any sense. The colors you choose or the way you put it together may not make any sense, but it's on a very intuitive, gentle way that the body helps to express what's hidden behind. And so that's where I like to delve as a muse. I like to delve in the right brain and the side of us that's not the linear, logical part that maybe we've fractured along the way, but really become a fully self-expressed human being. And I like to use a lot of the right brain to connect with the left brain and become very much a whole person, to be able to express who you truly are and what it is that you're truly here to do. And many of us have encountered sexual repression, sexual trauma, and even body shaming is in that category, I like to say. And I look for ways that are gentle and not up in your head where you may have blocked some of it, but using the whole entire body to be able to begin to express the things that are maybe locked back there that you don't even remember or don't know. And hey, it's a way that can be very, it can be very, it helps you to become more self-expressed. It helps you to become more healthy as we dive into some of the little ways that you're suppressing who you truly are and how you really want to show up and what is your innate nature. I think as children, we have a lot of times we have some trauma that blocks us, or society blocks us and shames us and tells us that things are unhealthy or bad and wrong, when we can take a look at maybe that is healthy for me, but maybe my parent or a coworker or a teacher shamed you into that that's not you. But what I like to do is excavate through creativity and unblock parts of you that are hidden and want to come forward so that you can be the best you that you can be and be dynamic in doing so. Anything there, Jim, you want to bring in, or before I keep going?
Yeah, no, sure. Thank you. So you're basically giving people creative tasks to help define who they are. if I'm not mistaken, from what you're saying. And then I guess my follow-up question would be to that. So let's say, I paint this beautiful picture and I learn something about myself. And then what is kind of the process? How do you teach people to bring that into their own life and improve their own life with that?
Great question. Great question. Well, we have the realm that we know, and then we have the whole realm that we don't know. Many of you maybe have seen that iceberg picture where you have the iceberg up here. I mean, what's visible of the iceberg up here, but then there's this whole part underneath. And so through accessing through the right brain, through the brain of creativity, we can go further and deeper, because we can open up and we can begin to allow that nonverbal part of us that wants to become self-expressed and wants a voice, but yet it may not make sense until you start getting in there and doing it. So what I like to really help my clients do is be more of a whole human being, rather than, parts of us that are fragmented and shut down. And I think there was one other part of your question, but I think I need you to repeat it a little bit there, Jim.
Well, no, so basically just how do you get them there is kind of my question. Like once you discover them, how do you get them to apply what you've discovered about them? Like, yeah.
Absolutely. So when there are different exercises that you can do, and one I get into as a massage therapist, as a life coach for the past 26 years, and as a creative muse, which really uses that non-verbal side, that side that can help us be self-expressed. That part of us takes and it goes beyond the blocks. It goes beyond the verbal part that you can't maybe verbalize and you may not know. So we go deeper. We go into the body. We go into movement, creativity, into painting, even being able to just use more of the right side of the brain to allow it a voice and allow it to come forward without having to maybe place meaning or judgment or bad, wrong, good, but getting that whole part of you to be able to be more self-expressed. So I use different tools. I use verbal with, but most of them are very, very creative, like painting, cutting out papers, being able, and you say, oh, but I'm not an artist. But this is a part of self-expression, allowing you not, we've mainly been taught words and words to describe things, but you can allow colors, painting, playing. It's that part of you that most of us don't value, and many people don't value in society, that it's the nonverbal side, it's the creativity side, it's the right brain side that really gets into making you a whole human being. So I like to delve into that right brain side by using things like painting, by using things like just even getting into the body and the feelings in the body. Being a licensed massage therapist and coach for many, many years, 26, there's all kinds of hidden stuff that we've repressed in the body that, done in a very gentle way, can come out and change your whole entire world. So those are just, some of the meat and juices of what I do. How can it help you? Oh my gosh, when you become more of a whole human being, when you become more of who you really want to, how you want to show up in the world, these tools, these kind of things help you be more self-expressed, help you be a better leader, help you come forward to be a better husband, a better father, mother, they allow you to be more of a whole human being. And we dive into areas that really help unlock some little treasures that are there in a way that I like to say is very done in a very easy, gentle, non-threatening way, rather than as a muse, and I use the life coaching, but it's more in a way that allows you to continue to show up and come forward and allow more of yourself to show up rather than the suppression that may have happened along the way. Got something there, Jim? You're like thinking over there.
Yeah, you've taken me on a few different routes.
Well, we can cover both. Which one?
Yeah, no, yeah, it's good. So express maybe the finished product a little bit. Like once you help people discover, like, it is going to make their life better because they are going to be more themselves essentially and have what's dear to them. So, but what does that look like? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
you can be a much more powerful leader because parts of you that maybe, don't come fully self-expressed, the hidden, fragmented parts of you where you got told that you were bad and wrong. Maybe, a lot of some of my clients have been shamed in their body. They've been shamed in whether or not they liked somebody, or they thought that part of, what they were thinking was beautiful, and they got shut down and they got made bad and wrong. So right then they made a decision. I can't ever verbalize that again. And for some, it is as simple as, oh my gosh, they liked somebody in elementary school and that they were shamed by their friends that, oh my gosh, you're not good enough and you couldn't ever get somebody like that. And so then we play these stories in our head, and maybe it could help you show up as a better leader, a better mother. And a lot of what I've done as the massage therapist is be able to unlock and tap in areas that are in the hidden realm, that are in the ones that are that you can't bring up. I can go in and unlock those things in the body. And so with that being said, it helps you to become a healthy, whole human being and a very self-expressed human being. Because what if you are too afraid to get up and talk in front of a room because you were laughed at once upon a time? And all those kind of things, or in your own sexual health. What if you had your first girlfriend and she laughed at something and you thought she was laughing at you? And so at that point, you decided something, and that changed your whole course of relationships. So getting to the bottom of some of those things, and they're all stored in the body. That's where using the body rather than just trying to use all the intellect really helps, and creativity, when you can be able to draw, you can be able to unlock doors through the right brain, which is what we use in the body, what we use in the creativity realm. It helps us to move forward in a gentle way without, only tapping into talk therapy. Not that that's not good, because I use part of that in what I do as a coach and a muse, but it also taps into the unspoken and the unseen realm. The body stores all the information. It's all stored in your body. Every And so what a trained professional like myself can do is be able to scan the body almost like an MRI and be able to have you bring forward those things that are not easily cognitive. They don't come up so easily for you to remember. Sometimes, when I'm working with a client, all of a sudden memories come up that they have not thought about since they were a kid. So in a gentle, non push, very calm, relaxed way, the body knows it all. The body stores all that into the cells, into the cellular memory. And I love to really help people be fully whole, self-expressed human beings. Got something over there, Jim?
That was good. No, I like it. Because that is very known and common. Is there's a reason why children are so open and happy and trusting, right? And we lose that through being hurt. And most people want to dig into that, but you're saying I want to dig into that, but by using a different method, instead of talking about it, instead of reliving it, you just want people to use the creative sense to define who they are so that the past trauma is more irrelevant than defining who they are.
Yeah, and it's all stored in the body. It's in there. So we don't have to go through years and years of trying to excavate and get there and then trying to change the mind. I'm sorry, I don't know, can you hear the weed eater right outside?
That's all right. That's okay.
Okay. I apologize, they're weed eating right now. But there's parts of us that it's all stored in the body. And so we don't have to necessarily remember it, but it doesn't have to be hard either. We don't have to go through years and years of trying to remember it and get past the trauma. A lot of times we can get to it pretty simply by accessing the body and then do gentle things by allowing it to come up and be expressed, in a very controlled, way, not necessarily controlled, but with someone like myself or a trained professional, it can be a very gentle, loving, woohoo process, or you can try to get to those things and spend a lot of time. But I like to really help my clients go beyond what they know into what they don't know, which is what is under that iceberg. And it's all stored in the body. So I do with when I work with my clients face to face in person, I do what I call a body scan. This is something I did not learn. It's something that I have started from the time I was young. But I do what's my version of an MRI of the body. Now I can do that in presence, or I can do that where on the phone. But I scan the body to be able to find those wonderful bits and pieces of nuggets that are ready to be expressed. And I don't, by my allowing, the gentle, it's either they want to bring it up now or they don't. It's not, I never push a person into something that they're not ready to bring forward, but I shine that light. I bring that energy to it. And so if they're ready, we can go for it. And begin to look at, okay, this has been blocking me, but now, oh my gosh, I can learn that when I was 10 and somebody laughed at me when I liked such and such a girl, we can now bring that up and go, oh, I would like to move past that now so that I can be really self-expressed in my relationships. The body stores all the memory. So like sometimes I'm a massage therapist too, like I said, and sometimes, these little pockets get triggered when when I'm around, and I scan the body, we can begin to find those non, find those memories that are stored in the body, and be able to bring the person to a healthy, whole, self-expressed in the way that feels comfortable to them. They could have gotten laughed at when they said, oh, that girl is very beautiful, and maybe their friends laughed at them, and so then they shut down that part of them, but it comes very, very, sexual health is something that not a lot of people want to talk about, and not a lot of people, go to school and want to dive into sexual health. Sexual health is our way of really being the most self-expressed as a human being in healthy ways for us. It may not be for everybody else, but when you got laughed at because you were a guy and you thought that guy was very handsome, and you got laughed at, and so you shut it down, well, maybe it's time to really become who you are as a healthy, whole human being, not based upon society standards, but really who you are. And so what I like to do is help my clients discover what's under the iceberg, what it is that they are wanting to, those parts of them that they're wanting to express and be in the world as a dad, as a mom, as a business owner. Because when you're not living fully expressed, you are only that top of the iceberg, and there's so much more of you that's just waiting to come fully into your wholeness of who you are as a human being.
Yeah, that's
anything there.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I see, yeah, the synergy. Here's a quick question for you though. You said you do a scan of the body, and you can even do that on the phone. How does that? Can you illustrate that a little bit, or how would you go about doing that?
So energy is energy. That's why psychics can do what they do, and that's where we tap in too. You don't have to physically be in the presence of someone. We can connect from here to there. So it's all the unseen, unfelt realm. And so that is something that is a gift that I think ultimately we all have. And, we have our intuition. I think he's almost done. Can you hear that really loud?
A little bit, but you're okay.
Okay, good. They're trimming the hedges right out there. So those unseen things like that are the things that are driving us back here. They're driving who we are, how we show up. It's like the hard drive of someone that's always operating. And the things that you see are the things that how the person has really trained themselves to show up. But what I like to do when I scan is find all those treasures that are ready to come forward, so that more of that person can come, I want to say online or on board or show up, so that they can be more of who they are destined to be, more of today, that those things that they suppressed along the way are ready to come forward. So I do like my own version of an MRI. I scan the person. Doesn't have to be fully in my presence. It's kind of like working in the realm of intuition. It's working in that unseen realm. It's the stuff that is underneath the iceberg. So in scanning the body stores all the memory, stores all the cellular information in the cells and in the ethers of who we are. So it's for me to tap into that and stay in the I'm so sorry. Of all times, there's a he's he's doing a hedge trimming outside the window. But getting back, it's all those things like that you can't see. You can't see that that's going on right now in your operating system, and it's what I have the gift. It's not something that I was taught, but it's how to excavate those hidden treasures that are keeping you from being all the person that you want to be, that you are on this earth to be. And it's the gift that I was gifted to be able to work in the unseen realm. And sexuality really helps us be the whole person, because there's so much power when we're on board fully with who we are and we're fully self-expressed. There's so much more of us that comes on and we have access to so much more of what's under the surface of that iceberg. Does that make sense, Jim?
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And I believe it. Like, I'll watch animals like lions, tigers, bears, different stuff like that. And one thing I've noticed is that every species of animal, sexual and sexual health is the act of love and loving one another. And every species of animal is dependent on love. And the more complex the animal, the more dependent they are on nurturing love to guide them or to help them live. So I absolutely think you're onto something, because if you have a healthy sexual life, if you are comfortable loving and in the act of love, then the rest of your life could fall into place as well. Yeah. So I think you're onto something. I think this is great.
He's right outside the window now. So love is the essence of who we are. But if we have these blocks and these parts of us that are hidden beyond the iceberg, and we're suppressing who we are, we're not showing up fully as vibrant, whole, wonderful human beings. So if we can excavate the stuff that's blocking us and that's stopping us and that is really keeping us from taking those risks or making us move into being the better leader that we are, then we have a big problem. We're only scratching the surface and what we are here to do on the planet right now. So I can't believe, of all days. So what I'd like to really talk about now for just a minute is what happens when a person is not showing up fully. What happens when they're not in their bodies, when they're blocking themselves, when they're really operating on about 2% of their power, 10% of their power, 50% of their power. But what if you had access? And it's as simple as diving into what's all underneath that iceberg. What if it's as simple as allowing yourself more freedom? And when you dive into the realm of sexual freedom, and I don't mean that you just go out and have sex with whatever. That's not what we're talking about here. Sexual power, sexual energy is the most powerful energy that you have inside of your being. When you can tap into more of that, you're able to be more creative, be a better leader, have more self-expression in the world, not hold back in areas, but have more power. But power in a way that is not power over something or someone, but powerful. You're full of more of your own innate who you are and tapping into the universal energy. So you don't have those you're tapping into what's beyond, below the iceberg is more of you that you'll have access to. Does that make sense, Jim?
Yeah, no, it's perfect. I mean, really, the more you know who you are, the more powerful you are. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And sexual energy, we want to think it's poo-poo. We want to think that, you know, talking about sex is wrong. We want to think about all the things that we were made and shamed and made to feel like, oh, that's something you don't talk about. I want to bring all that stuff up and let's talk about it, because that's excavating under the surface, and that's allowing ourselves to have that much more of ourselves to come on board. So even with myself, when I was young, I had, sexual trauma, and that sexual trauma has made me into the muse and coach that I am today, because it allowed me to be able to understand what it is and how that suppression happened. But, it's not that I now suppress that. It's easy for me to talk about it. It's easy for me to find that power inside of me, instead of trying to find external power and find ways to have power over things, or to be able to be woman here I roar, find that masculine. It's really integrating the masculine parts of who I am along with the feminine parts of who I am, and coming more into a whole human being. And we all have those sides. We all have the intuitive, loving, caring, creative geniuses that are in us. That's the feminine side. And then we all have that logical, linear part that's so much valued in the world today. But we need to really understand that the other is where we can unlock more of our power, more of our strength, and bring that on board to make huge differences in the world. Not by going out and being, super strong and forceful, but really tapping into what's below the iceberg, that part of our intuition, that part of our creativity, that part that's more in the feminine realm. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. And I have something to add as well. But before I do, I see Miss Peggy Woods. You have a question.
Yes, hi. My
Hi.
name is Dr. Wood, Peggy Woods, and I help busy entrepreneurs write books so they can gain credibility, leverage their influence, and leave a lasting legacy. I'm happy to be a part of Telehealth. Jim invited me to help people to leave their legacy and get their message out. And also, we know that writing is healing. But I wanted to comment on your talking about sex transmutation. In Napoleon's Hill Think and Grow Rich book, he talks about sex transmutation. And I just want to read just a little bit. And it means the switching of the mind from thoughts of physical expression to thoughts of some other nature. And that's the transmutation part. So he says that sex desire is the most powerful of human desires. When driven by this desire, men and women develop keenness of imagination, courage, willpower, persistence, and creative ability unknown to them at other times. So it's about harnessing. When we harness and redirect along other lines, this motivating force maintains all of its attributes of keenness of imagination, courage, etc. So it's the power of taking that physical drive and transmuting it into a mental and energy and something called charisma. People say charisma. Well, charisma is it is a something that draws people to you, right? They say, "Oh, he's got it. Oh, she's got it." But it's a transmutation of really the sexual drive. And so this is really important. Our kids need to know this, our teens need to know this, young adults need to know this, so that they will learn how to harness those physical desires into mental attributes of genius.
That was awesome. That was awesome insight. That was right online. That was great. Thank you for sharing.
Oh, you're welcome. I have to give Napoleon Hill the credit.
No,
I
that was
appreciate
awesome.
that
Yeah.
because that's that part that's below the iceberg. That's that part that is the sexual energy. We've been taught to suppress it because it's powerful, because it is our essence of who we are. And we've been taught that it's bad and wrong. We've been taught that sexual transmutation is something that, sexual energy, period, is only for in the bedroom. It's only for your spouse, and it's only, and don't talk about it otherwise. But it's really the most powerful part of who we are as a human being is our sexual energy. And that in and of itself, when you can use that, harness it, transmute it, the sky's the limit. What you can create, the how you can become a better leader, a better mother, a better father, a better partner, a better mother, father. It's how you show up in the world. But if you're suppressing what is below the iceberg in that sexual energy realm, you're not coming on board as a whole human being. And we've been taught that it's bad and wrong. We've been taught that part of us, and why would the powers that be want us not to have an understanding of that? I think it's because we can be suppressed, we can be coerced, we can be not in our power, we can be very much in the realm of not being on board as a healthy, energetic human being. But when we have all of our sexual energy coming on board, we can create things. It's our creative realm. We can create things. We can create businesses. We can create partners. We can create, anything that our being wants us to bring forward. And if we are suppressed in it, we become unhealthy, depressed, on antidepressants, drugs, in the realm of, an unhealthy human being. Being a fully self-expressed in a healthy way allows us to become more of who we are and who we're here to be at this time. Either one. Jim, you got anything? Got any questions?
No, I think you're right on. I think no, absolutely. The more we live, the more we become suppressed. So if you can reverse that role, especially through acts of loving one another, sexual health, then you're gonna help people. Yeah, and I understood too what you're when you had talked about power and not power over something or something. It reminded me of the story of this guy on the spaceship, right? And he's going up there and he hears this like knocking, every 30 seconds, like a knock. And he's like, oh my God. And he's like, this noise is going to crush me. I can't deal with this for the next 10 years, right? And so he's thinking about having the power to turn off the noise. But really, in the end, his power is in adapting to the noise and not letting it bother him and just being right inside.
Yeah,
Exactly.
for sure.
I think about an example that sometimes, like if you've ever been, say, like I used to be in sales, for example, and when I was in sales, I may have the opportunity to speak to a male, and just being transparent. All of a sudden, I feel the sexual desire, and it's like, where in the world does that come from? But when we notice when that happens, oh, sorry. Your presentation is the best, right? Because you're at your optimum. You're harnessing that desire into creating the best presentation that you've ever created. And it's even with athletes, they're playing and it's stimulating the sexual, but it's stimulating it. It's transmuting it from the physical into the mental creativity. And so it's often used. When it happens, it can be used. Just remember, this is what's happening. It's my creativity coming alive. That's all.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that when we understand this energy, because we're so used to suppressing it and thinking it's just about going and having sex with somebody. But this is the most potent and powerful form of energy that comes through us. And when we learn what the cues and the signals and things are, we have our chakras. And as we learn to, they're gateways and energetic ways that our body processes energy that comes in, and we transmute it. So when you understand about energy, when you understand about sexual energy, when you understand about what information is coming in all the time, like you said, there was this person, when we understand what we're putting out into the world and we're not shamed by sexual energy, when we're really learning how to harness it, we're learning how to transmute it into the world, we're learning how to come into our most powerful parts of ourself and to express that, there's no limit to what we can do as human beings. But it's understanding and not being shied by that, and finding the blocks, finding the things that are within you that says, oh no, that's not healthy for me to feel, that's not good for me to feel, or when I do feel it, I want to, suppress it and make it into, I haven't had sex in so long. This isn't me, I'm just saying, I haven't had sex in so long, so I don't even want to feel that. It's not the same thing. Having sex and sexual energy are two different, it's part of the same, but it's different. It's the most potent, powerful form of energy that we have. It's creation, it's creativity, it's how we can take and turn something from a thought into making it into reality. And so when we learn how to use it and how to unblock the parts of us that have suppressed it, or it's locked and hidden by our thoughts, or then we can come on board and be powerful human beings, making a huge difference in the world. You can turn that and transmute it. You can put it down into your creative center, your thought, bring it down, put it into your creative center, and then allow it to blossom. So any other thoughts? Or
I don't think people know what it is. I've never heard it until I read the book. I'm in a mastermind. We talk about the book, but people don't even know what it is, so they can't really transmute what you don't know.
Right, and that's where working
right?
with someone like myself, where you can learn that this isn't something that we've been taught. But Napoleon Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich, is back from the late 1800s. This is not new, but it's really been suppressed and hidden information. So when a person wants to explore this realm, they tap into the unlimited amount of power and potential within themselves. And that's where I like to play. I like to play in possibilities. I like to find where you're suppressing yourself, where you're in the sexual energy realm, and it's not about sex. it's about this most potent, powerful energy that's called creation. And whether or not it's a baby that comes into creation or it is your next business, it's diving into where you're blocked, where you're not tapping into your fullest potential, that I love to play in. That's my playground, is in that realm of pure potential. Anything there? Does that make sense? It's called creation.
Yeah.
And what do we want to create? Do you want to create a new business? Do you want to create, a relationship? Do you want to create, well, there's things inside of you that could be blocking, or the creation, or it could be, and most of these are the things underneath the iceberg, the things that you don't remember or that aren't truly visible above that you are aware of. So we dive down into what's below, and a lot of that's stored in your body, and some of it you can bring up and you can talk about, but you don't know how to unblock it. And so that's the realm I love as a muse and as a life coach for the past 26 years, helping my clients go beyond what is seen, go tap into the body, because all the memories are stored in the body. And so it's stuff that they may not even know that's blocking them, that their third grade teacher or somebody said. But what I like to do is excavate that and find those hidden gems that really bring the person into more of a whole, powerful, finding untapped potential that's right within you.
That's good. Yeah. No, I love it. Yeah.
How do I do that? That might be another question. Doing it
There you go.
over the phone or in person. So it can be done over a Zoom call, or it can be done on the telephone, or it can be, and I work in helping people to tap into where they're sexually blocked, where their potential that's waiting to be realized, where it is blocked. So creation is your sexual energy, and it may not be sex, but it's your sexual energy. So I like delving into that realm, and I like really helping people to bring more of themselves on board, what's below the iceberg. And so that can be done over the phone. It can be done in person. It can be done in retreats. I've taken clients on 5-day cruises and really worked with, everyone from a CEO to a business owner of a large company to a mom and a housewife that couldn't seem to get past her sexual trauma. So it's what's below the surface that I like to get into the body and find, because the body stores all the memory. All the memory's there. And it's kind of my thing to like shine a magnifying glass or to bring it to the surface so we can play and find out how you can be more of who you want to be, or more of who you're meant to be.
That's awesome. No, that's great. It reminded me, we had a speaker a month ago that was talking about normalizing talking about suicide and just having that talk and getting it out in the open. And I think it very much applies to this as well. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. We've been taught that sex is bad and wrong unless it's behind closed doors, and it's our most potent and powerful form of energy. That's creation. That's how we form babies and ideas, and it all comes from sexual energy. So if you're only operating on 10% of who you could be and your potential, then it's time to dive underneath the iceberg and find what you don't know, in the realm of what's hidden.
Yeah.
And I love to use the body to do that, because it stores all the memories. So I do a scan, or I do a scan by even not being in physical present, but being able to tap into the person who's there on the phone with me. And then I love to use creativity. I love to use painting. I love to use mind mapping and things that use the right brain versus, the logical, sequential side of the being. Because then we can tap into what we don't know, because that's the realm under the iceberg. What don't we know? So any more questions? Anything you'd like to know? Anything that's popping and pressing?
No, I just had a comment. Yeah, no, I love it. Another, embrace who we are. You have to embrace everything that you are to reach your full potential. And that's what you've been saying. And yeah, no, I'm totally in agreement with that. I mean, you could be attracted to a stranger and think it's because of how they look, where really it's because of their ideals or their beliefs, or, who they are, or they can help you find who you are. So no, I commend you. I think it's great. This is a great meeting. And we are almost out of time, but any last words or anything that you want to leave our viewers with? Like, at least do this one thing, or something. I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. It's, all of this is what I like to say is underneath the iceberg. It's finding, hang on. Oh, I thought I had it mute on.
No, you're good.
Play with creativity. Creativity is creation. Whether or not you are drawing, doodling with crayons, getting back to that part of you that is the 5-year-old that plays without judgment, paints and finger paints, and just allow more of yourself to start coming on board without judgment, without thinking, oh my gosh, that's bad and wrong. Because so much of this realm is in the unseen. You may not even remember these memories, but it makes you into a better leader, a better mom, a better dad, a better spouse, or it's what you don't know that gets you into, maybe trouble. So where can you play more, have pleasure more? And if there's an area that you really find yourself coming up against when you're, as a leader, you don't want to talk about this, or you don't want to look, it's how can you bring some light to it? How can you bring some lightness and maybe get out some paints or crayons? Or that's why you see a lot of really famous people now. They're creating these beautiful artworks, and we have a lot of our leaders in the world that are tapping into what they don't know. It's not about the knowledge, it's about the unseen knowledge. So I really encourage you to play, because play and pleasure, I believe, are the way of the future, rather than, all that we got to study to know. I believe that it's all within us, and it's just a matter of letting more of us come out into the world. And I'm here to help you do that. I would love, to tap into what you don't know, because that's the realm I love to play in.
That's awesome. I couldn't agree more. The best way to live is to enjoy the ride. And it sounds like you're helping people do that. So that's awesome. Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for being here. Thank you all for watching. You can book an appointment with Marianne on telehealthtoday.net come November 1st, as well as Peggy, as well as a bunch of other practitioners. It's going to be great. Thank you all. And until next Monday, we will see you. Marianne, Peggy, it was a pleasure to have you guys. Thank you. Until next week. Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.